Hey gang, let's roll that beautiful bean footage.
Drop it.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm going to call this episode 13, episode Lucky 13. Tonight, I get an interview and talk with the founder, CEO of Holganix, Barrett, and then David is the president of Holganix. So, guys, we're doing a lot of the podcast. I'm a truck and tractor puller. I'm a mortgage loan officer. I know nothing about farming, but I know that Holganix is a good product by all the podcasts we've been doing. We've been talking to agronomists. We've been talking to customers, potential customers, new customers, people that have been using your product for 3 to 5 years. And I just want to say right out of the gate, as a truck and tractor puller, I can't thank Holganix enough for what Todd and Julie have done with the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling Association and the Go Grow meetings that they do in the local communities. And it's really been an awesome partnership. I got to meet all the owners of Holganix Midwest over the last couple of years, and it's been honest. It's been awesome. And to see the pullers get excited, and because your product works so well, it is bringing life back to their soil, and they're making more money, so they can go spend more money on truck and tractor pulling. I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but I'm just teasing. But it truly is it's a fantastic mix between truck and tractor pulling and this. And Todd and Julie bring out a trailer. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the trailer, but they bring it out to the pools and they're hanging out with us, and it's really like a community center. And sometimes we even put our Outlaw Pulling TV cameras up on top of the if we can't get high enough above the crowd, so it doubles as a TV studio as well. So welcome, guys, to be loyal to your soil. This is episode 13. I've been working with Holganix Midwest, and like I said earlier, usually been talking to farmers, and I got an email that I got to interview the CEO and the president. I was like, I'm not gonna start drinking until after the podcast tonight. So I'm drinking water. Barrett, welcome. Barrett, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us where you're from. Tell us about Holganix. If anybody has any questions, please type them in the comments. I'll put them up there on the screen. So, Dave, let's start with Barrett, and then we'll move to you, and then let's just kind of we'll just have some fun and talk about stuff. So, Barrett, the floor is yours, my man.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jason. So, first of all, we're incredibly grateful to be associated with the Tractor Pull organization that you represent. It's been a great win-win partnership. We've gotten exposed to a really good group of people that we can work with and get a chance to get on their farms and show them how we can help them make more money, put some yield and soil health. So it's been a really great partnership, and I have seen that trailer. It's a heck of a trailer that Todd drags around with his Denali HD. And one of these days I'm going to get.
He looks cool. He looks cool, Barrett. I promise. Like, he looks cool.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. So I'm a founder CEO of Holganix. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I built and sold 2 companies in the fertilizer space before I founded Holganix. And I founded Holganix. I'm really a turf grass guy. So my background is all around turf grass. So lawn care, golf course, sports turf, sod farm. That's been my passion for most of my life. And when I founded the technology around using microbes and a large consortium of microbes to drive the functionality and the health of soil to help produce fertilizer and improve plant health, my vision was to take it to the turf grass industry and help to revolutionize the turf grass industry. And in fact, we did do that. Holganix has been for 7 golf courses, a bunch of who's who, baseball and football fields that you see out there on TV every week. And so we've been really fortunate and grateful to have a tremendous amount of exposure across the country, coast to coast, in some of the best turf grass operations that there is. And we've helped them produce healthier plants and healthier soils and reduce their fertilizers and pesticides and such. And so this is my mission. And then I stumbled across some customers that were they had landscaping, lawn care companies, but had some small farm operations, and they started using our products on their produce and some of the corn. And they started showing me what they were seeing. This is back in 2013 kind of time frame. And so I started saying, hey, maybe this can be a big asset for the agriculture community as well. So I joined an ag tech accelerator to basically learn how to get into agriculture, make sure we had our formulations right, our protocols right, make sure we had rates right. And I joined this ag tech accelerator out of St. Louis. And fortunate for me, they paired me up with a mentor who was a guy who just retired out of Monsanto and wasn't ready to really retire. So we kind of volunteered to be part of this ag tech accelerator. And that was when I met Dave Stark, Ph.D. molecular biologist who had just retired, early out of the big ag group. And Dave was my mentor to help shepherd me into how could we build an ag business. And that was 2015 when Dave and I met. We spent a couple of years doing business planning, formulation work, getting trials done. In 2018, we started commercial agriculture. I thought, wow, maybe we'll have a nice ag business to supplement our turf business, because I'm a turf guy, right? So the world, the sun, rises and sets on turf grass. At least back then it did. And lo and behold, what has happened is the ag business has continued to grow significantly in acres and revenue. And in the last 2 years, we have now started to develop an ag business. We now have a turf business that supplements our ag business. So the ag business is much bigger than our turf business today. Still a great business for us in turf grass, and it's part of where I come from. But ag, row crop, corn, soy, cotton, wheat, that's what's driving the company today. That's where our acres are. That's where our revenues are. And that's where we get to actually add the most value, because it's at the end of the day, did we help your golf course get greener, get better roots? Yes, we did. And that's a good thing. But at the end, when we talk to a farmer and it's their livelihood, it's their P&L, and we can be a partner with them in a win-win relationship, help show them how they can reduce inputs while improving yield and soil health, and do all those three things at the same time. And it pencils out, man, it's just a win. And it feels so good to help a small business operation succeed. And that's where I've always been my whole life. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. So to get to work with entrepreneurial farmers, help them with their businesses, with our technology, it's been a real blessing for us. And so today, I have a turf grass background. I'd say I'm an ag guy that happens to know a little bit about turf grass.
I like it. And that's one thing we've been sharing a lot is on the Holganix Midwest website, they have like a return on investment calculator for people to really see that. And that's the one thing we've really been pushing Dave and Barrett with our interviews, because every other podcast has been a farmer and an agronomist or somebody from Holganix Midwest. Because as a farmer, and I'm not a farmer, I fully admit that, but farmers every day, there's people coming up the driveway trying to sell them something, right? And, we joke all the time about, oh, here comes another snake oil or something like that. But the owners of Holganix Midwest, and then having Todd and Julie at these events, it's one thing to knock. How many times, I don't know, what are the stats, Barrett? How many times you're supposed to visit somebody before they actually make a sale? Like 7 times or something like that. And it's hard for a farmer, because I think Mike Batson, one of the at the Outlaw banquet in November, the Holganix did a breakfast and they did a presentation in the morning. And they showed the amount of people that are in this space now. I'm going to call it the bug space, if you will, and all the different things that Holganix does. And you guys are kind of really right in the middle of all that stuff, because everybody's trying to get into this world. But I really like how you've came at it with almost a give to get, like, hey, try our products and put them in, and then you like it. And honestly, the most common theme I've heard from the farmers, and it's from the Outlaw truck and tractor pullers, because I know all these guys, is, hey, they'll buy a tote 500 acres that first year, and then the second year they're putting the fall product on, or they're going 1,000 acres, or they're doing their entire farm. So that I love and obviously, Barrett, that came from you, has to come from the top down, to have people like Todd and Julie out pounding the pavement every weekend, hanging out with these farmers and doing that. And it's been awesome, because these are my friends, and they're not going to come on a podcast and lie to their other fellow farmers and stuff like that. And 2 weeks ago, we had somebody on from Manchester, Iowa, and he actually has like a small co-op, and he put some on and didn't tell his neighbors. And you know how farmers are. They're all nosy. What's everybody doing, right? And he was driving down the road, and he called and goes, what did you put on your field? Like in 4 days, he could see the stalks decomposing. So it's so good to tell these stories. And honestly, that's what we're using social media for. To get the stuff out there. So Barrett, thank you for being that leader and getting it. Like I always say, if Walmart puts something on for sale, it's in the back of the store, and you go in to buy that one item, but you come out with a cart full of crap, right? Holganix says, hey, we have something great, but we know there's a bunch of people that think they're great like us. Here, we're going to give you, what the Go Grows, what you've done for truck and tractor pulling. And truck and tractor pulling is a disease. It's a hobby, guys. We spend way more money than we're ever going to win on these things. And it's a crazy horsepower game. And it truly stemmed from agriculture. And to see a sponsor come in like this and give the way you guys have, I can't thank you enough as a fellow puller. So thank you for that, Barrett. Dave, thank you, 2015. Oh, sorry, Barrett. Go ahead.
I just got to put my hat off to Holganix Midwest, our partners out there in Iowa and the Midwest. They've really pioneered this Go go grow concept within the tractable community. So really hats off to them for helping make this happen. Just want to give credit where credit's due.
I think you'll realize, and I know you don't, sir, but farmers, if you take care of farmers, farmers will take care of you. And that truly is that Midwest mentality. And I know it's everywhere. But people rally around people who help them. And I can't thank you enough. So Dave, this Barrett guy rolls into your life, 2015. He's a serial entrepreneur. I know what that word means. So he's a little bit crazy. He's got all these ideas and he's run all over the place. He needs somebody smart like you to put all this together. How do those early conversations go, Dave?
That's a story.
Hey, these are the best podcasts when we can tell stories, Dave.
That's right. So, given my background is so different from Barrett's, because you see, even from before he graduated high school, he was hustling, making money, and that's why he built and sold 2 businesses. I instead thought I should get an education. So I didn't actually get my first real job till I was 31. Because
Are you a doctor? Are you a doctor, Dave? Did I call you Dr. Dave Stark?
Yeah, I have a doctorate in molecular biology of all things. Wow. And so that takes a long time. And then, we don't do residencies, we do postdoctoral studies. So I invested a lot in my education, but by the grace of God, I did my doctorate at Washington University in St. Louis in this lab that was funded by this company called Monsanto, that at the time was not in agriculture at all. It was a multinational and all kinds of different businesses, but was tinkering. And really we were at the forefront of genetic engineering. And so my lab did the first field trial of a genetically engineered plant in 1987. Not my lab, the lab I was in, that I did my doctorate in. So it just made sense that I would end up at Monsanto. They funded the lab. They patented my dissertation research. So I was at the ground level of a whole new revolution in agriculture. And, I spent my last 18 years in different vice president roles. When I retired, we had a $1.5 billion R&D budget, and I knew data. So most of my time I was in the business of science. I was not in the lab. I was not really part of the technology organization. I helped run different business units, corporate affairs, strategy, et cetera. So when a friend of mine who retired just before me founded this incubator that Barrett's company was one of the first to join, and he asked me to be a mentor, I said, well, sure. What do they do? And when he said microbials, I said, no, they're bugs in the jug.
Yes, I've heard that so many times, Dave, over the podcast.
I was there, and I saw what my former employer had invested in and it just reinforced my attitude that when you need a statistician to tell a guy that maybe he got a bushel and a half or 2 in corn, come on, that's noise. That's not science. But the guy who asked me was a friend, not just from Monsanto, but from church. Our younger daughters were good friends. And, I knew the family, fantastic people. So I said yes. And, a board member of Holganix almost blew it when he told me the story about the watermelon contest and the data they have. I'm thrilled for the Amish farmer, outside of Pennsylvania, outside of Philly, that finally beat his cousin in the watermelon contest after 10 years of trying and got written up in the local paper. But you know what? That's not data. So I was looking.
By the way, that was our first ag customer. Was the guy who won his watermelon competition. He was the guy that showed me we should get into agriculture.
That's awesome.
And I helped him calibrate his mule pulled spray rig to make sure that we could get our rates down right. But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Dave. I just wanted.
No, it's all right.
No, this is fun. I'm gonna get some of this on my yard, guys, because I farm 2 acres and I like perfectly straight lines, with my mower. And I'm legit gonna get some, and we're putting on my yard because my one neighbor is crazy good. Like he's a nurse anesthetist, so he's super smart and he's always thinking. He mows his yard like 3 times a week. Like he's the first guy in the neighborhood every year to do all the yard work, and the rest of us don't want to do any yet. He always shames us into that. So I'm gonna get some Holganix, and I'm not gonna tell anybody. I'm gonna sneak in. We're gonna put it on in the middle of the night, and I'm gonna get them. I'm going to
You're
get.
You're gonna tick your neighbor off because
Yes, I
it
am.
really works.
Yeah, I know.
If I interrupted you, you got to talk about how the,
No, that's all right.
board member just about scared you away.
Yep. So, but I didn't, because I liked Barrett. I liked the story, and my friend Jeff that introduced me to him. So I stuck with it. And then I had the opportunity to meet some of Barrett's customers. By the way, I say all that because when I'm out talking with guys that farm, and they're almost apologetic when they have their doubts and such, you are a skeptic. You can't be more skeptical than I was. So I'm with you. I get it.
No, I've heard it all, Dave. It's been fun to hear. It's been real. All the podcasts have been really casual. The farmers talk, another bug in the jug. We've heard all these different sayings, snake oil, stuff like that. And then when it works, it tries it. And obviously the Bryans and the Terrys, the owners of Holganix Midwest, super passionate people. And when they put on a presentation, it's legit. Like, it's good. It's quick, it's precise, and it's good. That's why I tell my priest at church, if you pick up the pace a little bit, I think more people would come to church. But that's a different thing there. But they do a nice job with the presentations with all of that. And farmers, you can't BS a farmer, guys. No. I mean, you just can't, because that is their life, and and their grandpa was a farmer, and their dad was a farmer, and they're a farmer, and their kids are going to be a farmer. And that's why I don't know who thought of this, but I'm going to put this back on the screen. But that's what this logo means. That's a dad and a son, and he's putting life back in the soil for his kids. I think the Holganix Midwest, I think they actually have a T-shirt too that talks about I'm saving this farm for future generations. Every episode comes up with a T-shirt. There's a saying that comes out of every episode. Jenny Honig's supposed to be making all these T-shirts for me. I don't know if she is or not, but we've been having fun with them. But like funny stuff, like one guy said at one of the Go Grow meetings, it's like that soil where the fence rows are that nobody's been farming. That's what your dirt's like after you've had Holganix on it. It's not all wore out. It's not all beat to death, and that's just like, wow, to hear the guys talk about some of this stuff.
Yeah,
it's been fun.
Exactly. So when I heard that from Barrett's customers, and these are people that run the facilities for some of those valuable sports franchises on the planet.
Yeah.
And they told me, that they didn't know how it worked. They said, look, I cut my fertilizer in half, my water 10 to 30%. I go from 24 to 2 fungicide sprays a year. I don't have nematodes anymore. I'm like, what? So I had to shift my mindset away from soil health is Roundup Ready and no-till to really learning about what the life in the soil does. So all that time I spent in education actually has come to use because Holganix, the product is different. It works for a reason. It's because it's not 1 or 2 different bugs. That's not how soil works. It's the entire engine. So you can't put 1 or 2 components of an engine on the ground and expect it to run. So that's how we're different, and that's why it works. That's why I'm not retired anymore. So...
Well, that's got to be hard. You came from big business, big ag. That was your whole life. And then you meet this Barrett guy running around smoking cigars, doing the Philadelphia Eagles stadium. Yeah. I want real grass back in the football stadiums too, Barrett. Not that crap with the black pellets in it. I'm just going to throw that out there too.
It's coming back. Yeah, they've figured out that the black pellets has got its fair share of problems. Yeah. Best fields are going turf.
Yep. Can you put it on? Soil King wants to know, they're watching on Facebook. Can I put it on my garden? Absolutely. Right, Dave?
Yes. It's your garden. Anything that's growing in soil that needs healthy ground is going to benefit. So absolutely. If you want to have your spouse really admire your gardening skills, put the stuff on there and don't tell her, because it's unbelievable how well it works.
Yeah, and you'll even taste it. I mean, you'll see the tomatoes and the berries. Nope. The Brix level goes up, which is translates into flavor, and so you'll get bigger, better fruit that tastes better. And so it's fun to put on the gardens.
Yeah,
love it.
And it's the science guy that spent 36 years in Missouri, the show me state. Man, I'm wired that way. I don't believe anything until I can figure out how it works. So if people have questions, that's what I really like to do, because I spent the time. Why? Why does it taste better? Why does it need less fertilizer, et cetera, et cetera? And it's amazing how when you put, God's design back in the soil in terms of the life, how well things work.
It's good stuff. And again, like I told you, and I'm glad that we didn't bring you guys on right away. I always get an email from Jenny, who my guests are, a couple days before. For me, because I'm not a farmer, but my dad is, but all my friends are farmers, for me to hear the passion and the agronomists and the farmers and the people that use this product, and they're in year 1, year 2, year 3. Dave, and they're smart people like you with all these degrees, and they've been doing this a long time. It's kind of fun. I bet, Barrett, I love the word serial entrepreneur. Barrett, what did you do before you got into the turf business? I'm curious.
Well, I've always been in the turf business, frankly. So when I was in high school, I got my first job ever.
Is good.
Yeah, it's my first job ever, and my only job, frankly. I've never worked for somebody since. Was doing telemarketing for ChemLawn. So basically, I would call people up at dinner and ask if they wanted to get a free price estimate on lawn analysis. That was my first job. I was 12 years old doing telemarketing. I did, and I loved that job.
You were 12 years old?
Yeah, and actually, I did have a job before that, which was shoveling horse manure out of stalls, and so this was a significant upgrade in job. Like I said, in an air-conditioned office with a bunch of college girls and make phone calls. It's not even work. So I did that every day of my life from 5 to 9, Monday through Friday, Saturdays 9 to 1, from when I was 12 to when I was 16, and actually 17. And when I was 16, they let me be an on-the-road sales guy. So I got to go out and not just make phone calls, but actually go out and measure lawns, meet people at the kitchen table, and sell them lawn care. And I got commissions, and I got top 10 people in the Mid-Atlantic region for the company, and I'm still in high school. I mean, I drove a Cadillac to high school because I was making so much money in commissions. It was truly cool back then. But it occurred to me, I said, first of all, this company wasn't doing a great job on service. So I was selling things that weren't actually getting done well. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I would always try to go to them, trying to help them solve the problems of service. And they just kind of ignored me. I'm just this kid. Just go sell, do your thing. You'll get commission on it.
Right.
And so I thought, well, this is just dumb. If I just do a little better than these guys, like I'll have a decent business, because they're having a lot of cancels. And I just got to pick up a few of these cancels. It just occurred to me, if I'm top 10 salesman in Mid-Atlantic in high school, I'm not going to get a lot better at this company. Let's just do this on our own. At least I can control what I sell and make sure people get value from what I sell. So that day I quit and told my boss I was done, and he didn't believe me. He said, just take a break. You need to be a kid for a while. I said, no, I'm going to start my own company. So I did. I started my own company that day. I was a junior in high school, called Custom Care Lawn Service. Didn't put a lot of thought in that name, just kind of made it up talking to a customer. And so I started putting down fertilizer and killing weeds in high school. Didn't really know what I was doing, frankly. I knew how to sell the stuff. I didn't know how to put it down. And certainly I killed a few lawns, striped a few lawns. It wasn't the prettiest beginning. I met an agronomist a turf agronomist locally that really thought I was interesting and kind of probably a little bit cute, that this kid really wants to learn how to make grass green and build a business. And he took me under his wing and really taught me the basics of agronomy and fertilizer and soil and plants in a traditional synthetic, way, nothing like we're doing today with organics. And so I took his tutelage and my sales ability, and I built a pretty nice lawn care company through high school. I was going to college. I was 3 weeks into college at Penn State, and I was doing my business part-time. I went to college, and 3 weeks into college, my daughter comes along and tells me and my high school sweetheart that we should get married. So my high school sweetheart became pregnant, and we got married, and now for 4 years, have 4 kids and 6 grandkids. But from that point, I was like, well, I guess I got to drop out of college and make a living here, support a family. So I doubled down on the entrepreneurial thing and tried to build that lawn care company into something serious. Frankly, because I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to support my family. As a kid, right, kind of job am I going to get to support a family? And everybody thought we weren't going to pull this off as a couple. And so I was determined to make sure that didn't happen. And so we worked really hard, my wife and I, and built that lawn care company up. And when I was still in my 20s, the fertilizer people that you buy from the hardware store, they wanted to get into the professional space, putting down fertilizer and killing weeds, in addition to the hardware store stuff that you see today. And so they started buying companies like mine, and they came to me and wanted to buy us because we had a very dense customer base within several Philadelphia suburbs. And I kept saying no. I mean, this is what I do. This is my identity. And they kept raising the price. And eventually I was like, well, heck, I could build another lawn care company for the amount of money you guys are giving me and have a bunch left over. So I pulled that for more money than I could have at one time. when I was still in my 20s. Didn't even know you could sell a company. It didn't even occur to me. I was just trying to support my family. Sold that company and had a non-compete for Philadelphia. So I went down to Baltimore, just an hour and a half away, started a new lawn care company where I didn't have a non-compete. And I took this money that I had from Scott's and the experience I had from building my first company. And now I'm more of a mature business person. And I built the second company. We had revenues that exceeded the first company within 7 months. And we had scaled that business tremendously. We became the largest independent lawn spray operation in the Mid-Atlantic region. We had 150 trucks that went out every day and sprayed lawns at one point.
Wow.
So built a pretty big spray operation. That also put a pretty big target on us because we were all around Chesapeake Bay. So Chesapeake Bay, if you don't know, it's only 8 feet deep in most places. So it's a pretty shallow body of water. So the runoff that happens in the bay has an exponential effect. Nitrate phosphate runoff has an exponential effect on the bay because there's just not that much water. And there's a lot of light that's going down and hitting that green stuff that's underneath the water. Nitrates, phosphates, they're create massive phytoplankton algae blooms and hypoxia and all these problems. A lot of it was from outdated septic systems because there's a lot of old suburbs around Chesapeake Bay. Some of it was from lawn care, some of it was from agriculture. We got target as lawn care because people used to say, "What's more important, the quality of our lawns or the quality of our water?" That was like a big kind of mantra that they put in the newspapers, and they'd show pictures of our company, and we were the biggest guys in town, so we had the biggest target on our back. So I started looking around and saying, you know what? And by the way, my family and I have 2 sons that are today professional fishermen. They fish the sailfish circuit, do offshore fishing. That's what they do for a living. My wife, all she wants to do when we're not working, be on the water or the boat. So every weekend we'd be out on the Chesapeake Bay, and I'm thinking the very thing I do for fun and the very thing my family does for passion is maybe out of alignment from what I do as a living, putting down fertilizer and killing weeds the way we did. I thought if we don't change, maybe there's not going to be an industry. The lawn care industry is what I mean, because we were having such negative publicity. So I thought we got to find a better way. And how can we create green weed-free lawns in a way that preserves our waterways and preserves our soils? And so that drove me down the rabbit hole of microbes and how can we use the right microbes. And again, I'm not the microbiologist, but I know how to talk to them and ask them lots of questions. And so I partnered with a microbiologist before Dave came along, and he had some beginnings of this technology already going, and I helped him figure it out in the turf grass space and became his largest customer. Eventually, I owned the company that he started and bought the idea behind the beginning, the origins of Holganix, which was that consortium approach to soil health. The product's come a long way since then. That was a Model T, and today we've got a souped up Ford Mustang. But it was the beginning, and that got us into it, where I became what I like to say a born again organic evangelist. I spent trying to just suck a little less than Chemlon, and put down the same as they do, just do a little better job, and eventually moved into how can we do it in a way that's better, because I didn't want the target on my back. I didn't want my industry to go away, and I wanted to look my boys in the eye and tell them that, hey, we're going to fish this weekend, and what's happening in the bay, it does nothing to do with what we do. We're in fact we're the Bay Safe Lawn Care Company, and that became my mission for a while with that lawn spray operation, to the point where I thought maybe we could build a national organic lawn care company using this technology. And I started to build a business plan around that. And I had a mentor that had $1 billion operation. He actually owned Nutrisystem, if you remember that back in the day. And and I went to him and told him what I was going to do. And he said, look, if you think the technology around this micro, our secret sauce, forget about building trucks and guys and marketing. You need to put all your energy and all your money into making this technology as good as it can be. So I took his advice, and by the way, he said you can find guys that can go put this stuff down in every market. You don't have to be the down in every market. So I said, oh, well, I believe this guy. So I sold my company back to Chemlon, my first employer. They were doing a big roll up with a big private equity group. So that big 150 truck operation sold that, and took that money and put it all into developing this technology to ultimately revolutionize the lawn care industry, which has now turned into revolutionizing the way the world grows. And we see this as our mission is to put this on every acre of fertilized ground, certainly in North America and potentially the world, if you look at our big vision. But we're just getting started in row crop, and row crop is been a tremendous blessing for us. And I say just started, we started in 2018, but we've got a long way to go. I mean, we're just touching the tip of the iceberg on what we can do in helping farmers create more while using less and improve soil health. So it's super exciting to be here and be on this journey. And I wouldn't have picked this path; it picked me. But I'm super grateful it has.
That's very cool. Dave, I now know why you went to work for Barrett. I'm ready to give up mortgage and just get into the organics business. So very passionate, very honest, and
Yeah.
and it works too. And I that's so simple. That's what I love about doing this is, like I say all the time, I'm not a farmer, but I believe in this product. So one question, Soil King, I don't know. I don't know if you sell the product by the gallon. I just know for the row crop, it's by the acre. How do I answer that question? Is that something they can reach out to you on the internet or?
Yeah, they can certainly reach out to us on the internet. I can tell you that it's different on different use rates, whether you're using it on turf grass, whether you're using it on produce, whether you're using it on row crop. We have different formulations and different rates. But just to answer for the corn, soy, cotton, wheat operators, it's a half gallon an acre at planting, and that is $20 an acre delivered to the farm. So that would translate into $40 a gallon. We also have a breakdown product that goes down in the fall. That's to help your stover and stubble disintegrate and turn into humus. We have really good degrading microbes that help prepare the seed bed for the spring by getting that trash and cycling it back into the ground, getting those nutrients there, getting the organic matter there. And that is $15 an acre. Again, a half acre rate, so $30 a gallon. And these prices are delivered to the farm.
So Soil King, I threw in the comments, I threw in Holganix.com. That's if you just want to start there.
We'd be happy to dive in deep on whatever your uses are and what the cost might be based on what you're trying to get done.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So Dave, 2015, you're retired. You're smoking cigars on the golf course. You're enjoying life. Barrett comes along. So since 2015, so 9 years later, so the first couple of years were just kind of a bunch of testing and we're learning stuff. And then we got into ag. Or were you working on the turf side of the business? Or did, like, when Barrett met you, was like, dude, we got to get into row crops. Like, how did that initial conversation go?
Yeah, so one of the reasons I was asked to be his mentor is one of my last jobs at Monsanto is I was on the global leadership team for the vegetable seed business. And the people at the yield lab that were bringing Barrett in thought this was a specialty crop product. And so since I knew a lot of the people in that industry, they thought, you can help navigate, who to work with and how to get it in there. But we kept having these pesky investors that were corn and soybean growers from Iowa and southern Minnesota. They kept putting money into the company through this venture fund. And they kept saying, what about us? So I said, the specialty crop market, especially on the West Coast, is really hard to crack for a number of reasons. But we've got customers in the Midwest on corn and soy that are asking for us. So it took Barrett and I think about 2 minutes to change our business plan. And we started selling, in the Midwest. Now, of course, in agriculture, you got to have data. And so it takes more than one season. So we spent several years collecting the data, really understanding how to use the product. We knew how to use it on turf grass, but I didn't know the rate and the timing for corn. So we had to figure all that out. And, we started off at a place that was much, much higher and really not economically viable. And what we found, because, what's really important to us as people and as a company is if you use our product, you're actually going to end up with more money in your pocket. I'm not working for the guys I used to in the past. So, we did a lot of good things, but some business practices, this needs to work for everybody financially. And so it took time to figure out the best way to do that. What is the maximum way to use this to generate the most profit for our customer? And that's that half gallon rate. There's other tweaks and such we can talk about, but generally speaking, that's it. So that's what we did. Now, I got to tell you, Barrett and others, you're in turf grass, didn't understand the adoption curve in agriculture. So to Barrett's credit, we launched this product probably at a record pace because the normal course of business, if we look at other people out there like Pivot Bio, when did they start? 2013, 2011. It's 5, 7, 10 years of testing. We didn't need to do that. We knew this worked in grasses. Because what's turf grass? It's a grass. What's corn and wheat? It's a grass. So we could jump start a lot of that and get to market a lot faster. And it worked. So now it's just Why are we different? How does it work? How do you maximize how to use it? That's what I spend most of my time on, which is a lot of fun because, again, like you said earlier, 400 companies in our space.
Yep.
And then how many more are driving up the driveway? And look, when I was at Monsanto, every technology idea in agriculture came across our desk. It was really interesting. I couldn't keep them straight. I have no clue how anyone who farms keeps them straight. Right. So what I try to do is break through the noise. What do you look for to solve the problem you have? And for us, putting life back in your soil, and you can see a lot of my educational videos I do when I go to conferences, it's that. It's not selling. This is what to look for. Our product fits the bill. There may be other things people find good if it works for them, but that's what we want. We can do a lot of good for the farmer without having our hand constantly in their pocket trying to grab more.
Yeah, one of the funny sayings I hear all the time is how many free hats they get, or koozies or pens or something like that too. So Julie Waddell, and I was bragging on her and Todd earlier. They're the ones who really work the Outlaw program for us. Dave, why is it important to cut back fertilizer when using our product? And then obviously what that saves you as well. And that's what we've been working on with that return on investment calculator that you can find at Holganix Midwest.
So when we have excess, particularly nitrogen and or phosphorus in the soil, the biochemical feedback to the plant is you've got the nutrients you need. Don't spend all this energy secreting food into the root zone to attract and feed the microbes. So what happens then, the microbes don't die, they start degrading the soil because the plant's not feeding them anymore. And so this is how through time we see organic matter go from 5%, 4, 3. We see the ground go from something that's friable to where you can't get a shovel in it. It's like asphalt. Water runs off. We want the plant to be a little bit hungry so that it will feed the microbes because the microbes mine the soil and feed the plant. So it's a really easy phrase. Plants farm microbes, literally, because microbes mine the soil. We want that balance, everything to work together. So things actually work better if guys will back off their fertilizer.
And that's
the hardest conversation I have.
That's like me saying, no, have a bottle of water, JC. You don't need to drink that whole bottle of Crown Royal tonight. We're here to party. The more we put on, the better it's going to be, and it is so fun. This is like perfect timing to have you guys come on later, like episode 13, because if you guys came on right away, yeah, right. You're just trying to sell me something. But we've had so many podcasts, just passionate people that are living proof that this works. They're making more money. They're saving money. And I had the ROI calculator up there a little bit. That's really cool for all you farmers out there. You slide it around, it calculates. And I didn't even know what NP and K was before this podcast. I just knew about FHA, VA, USDA, and conventional, and DTI and LTV and all that stuff's meant. So because that's the world I come from. So I've been getting trained up on this a little bit. It's been fun. Let's see here. The Soil King says, I really love the product that y'all have. Thanks, Pop, for the help. So I don't know who that is. Do they know you? I wonder. I'm not sure. I tried to find this person. What's that?
I say I'm not sure who Soil King is, and I'm not sure whether Dave's Pop or I'm Pop. I'm the actual grandfather, but I think Dave may have a few years on me. So,
yeah, I've got more than a few, I think.
It's all good. It's all good. Tell me some stories like Barrett. Tell me some aha moments that people have came up to you, and then Dave, you or whoever wants to go first. But tell me some of the coolest things people have said to you. How about that? Like just some good stories. Like, wow, I tried it because I trusted you. Or tell me some fun stories.
Well,
go ahead, Dave.
I'll tell you one. So last summer.
Oh, he didn't mean to call you old, guys. He didn't mean to call you Pop.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Barrett just texted me. He says, if that's the worst thing somebody calls me all day, it's been a good day. So
I spent 26 years at Monsanto. I've been called everything. So, I mean, and I'm not kidding.
I'm sure of it.
Last summer, we were out and we did thousands of soil samples, just to show customers the difference between, where you've got our product and you're putting life back and where you don't, in terms of all the different soil health properties. And the agronomists called me and they kept saying, look, after a few weeks, I'd have to go out with a drill because our soil probe is probably about an inch around. And they say, but I don't have to use the drill where the Holganix is. The soil's open after a few weeks. And I thought, what? And so I went and I looked at, like I do, because I'm a nerd this way, the scientific literature. And
Dave, I'm so glad you said that, because I wanted to call you a nerd right away, but I wanted to get to know you a little bit. Because
that's okay. I resemble it. It's all right.
I resemble that comment.
I resemble that comment.
But it's fungi. When we till ground, we kill the fungi. Fungi make the glue that make the macro aggregates, the soil particles that open the soil up, make it so it works better, so it holds water. And so when we put fungi back in the ground, and almost all the farm ground that we look at is really deficient in fungi. It has a lot of bacteria, but almost none of the fungi. That's the big white feathery stuff you'll see like around your house in your mulch pile if you turn it over. So it's going to be white, blue, black, whatever. But that's what you need in the soil to give soil structure. It just amazed me that after several weeks, they could grow that fast and change the soil. And I've got guys now that have told me they can plant 30% faster because the ground is opened up better. They don't have the dirt piles or the clods. It's just, wow. And it's not something that if they didn't notice that I really would have thought of.
Good stuff. Barrett, you got any fun stories?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I mean, it's a real story. I don't know if it's a fun story, but everybody sees entrepreneurs, build a business, become successful. It looks easy. It looks fun. It is fun. It's not easy. And there's a lot of days where you feel like you're getting your teeth knocked in. In fact, there's a lot of years you feel like you're getting your teeth knocked in especially when you're trying to pioneer a new technology in a new space. And frankly, we were early to the party. I mean, today people are talking about microbes, but when Dave and I were first talking about this in 2015, 16, 17 in agriculture, I mean, if it wasn't snake oil, it was weasel piss. And so
there's the t-shirt, Barrett. There's the t-shirt.
Yeah,
weasel piss. Write that down. Jenny Honig, weasel piss. Okay.
So in any case, there were a lot of years where I'm going to tell you, I put all my life savings into this thing. I sold a company for a lot of money, and I bet it all on red, and because I believed in what we were doing, and it didn't go in a straight line, and it wasn't easy. And I remember coming home from work, and my wife is a passionate gardener at home, and she's got beautiful landscaping, but also edible garden. And I'd come home just beat up, and I'd say to my wife, we're going to keep pushing here, but this is hard. And then she'd take me out back, and she'd show me what she's working on. And she said, but look how good this is. And she would show me the results every time I came home a little bit frustrated, a little bit tail between my legs. She was the one who picked up and showed me what she was doing in the garden and how much it really worked firsthand, right there. And my wife is not one to blow smoke. Like, if you can't, she won't give you a false compliment. She's only going to tell you the truth. And so she has always brought me back to, this product works. You need to get this out to the planet. We're willing to mortgage the house and do whatever we got to do. The work is this. You need to keep going. And so to me, that's, while it's not exactly the hero story of we helped this corn farmer, make more money per acre and keep his son in the business because now they've got a more profitable operation. We love those stories. But that to me is just a heartfelt story that really tells the other side of an entrepreneurial story, which is that, you do have those low points that you got to overcome, and overcoming your greatest frustrations where you get your greatest success. But having a good partner like my wife and like Dave and like Holganix Midwest, that's how we do it.
Yeah, the Holganix Midwest guys are great. Brian and the Bryans and the Terry team and their whole gang, Todd and Julie, spend the whole summer with them. They're amazing. They're around. They'll help you with whatever you need. And it's been a lot of fun doing all that. Dave, so earlier on, I have ADHD, as you can tell, and I took us all over. I chase squirrels in my mind. Go back to the watermelon thing a little bit. We got about 10 minutes left here before I got to start another show up. Was you guys joking about the Amish guy and the watermelon, or is that some little side hustle thing you guys got, or what's the truth on that?
that's the scary part for me.
Okay.
Is he was dead serious, because I'm asking him, because he's trying to to get me to work more closely with Holganix and such. And I said, so what data? And he he lights up. Oh, and we have data. And he tells me this story. And my mind is, we spend $1.5 billion a year across the street, because this was in St. Louis, making data. This is a cute story. There's not a farmer on the planet I can look in the eye and convince them to use this product because, Willie beat his cousin in the watermelon contest. I mean, I'm like, I'm done. I'm done.
That makes me smile.
I remember talking to a colleague a couple of years later, and she was asking about the company. And I said, we had, the most modern rocket ship in R&D over at Monsanto. I have a broken tricycle. So, but we made it work.
And let me say this: we're not Monsanto by any stretch, but before Dave ever got there, we had spent well over $1 million in third-party research from land-grant universities like Penn State, Purdue, NC State in turfgrass. And so we had done a lot of third-party studies. We really understood what we were doing. But the other place that we did a lot of our studies, Jason, that was really powerful for us is on golf courses. Think about, we've got these superintendents. They're really agronomists, they're heavy-duty agronomists. They measure everything in that golf green. It's so important to them. I mean, they will lose their job if the greens don't look right. And so they know if the east side of the green versus the west side of the green, gets a disease, when the temperatures hit this rate and the moisture's at this level, we're gonna hit Pythium, or we're gonna get spot, or whatever the disease is. And so we started to do our formulation work and do different formulations for our golf course superintendents and ask them to give us feedback. And what was really cool is they were really eager to measure everything. And in agriculture, we get a 1-year feedback loop. Right? You plant, you harvest. We don't know if we did a great job until the end of the year. In golf course, they spoon feed everything. So we get like 21 and 30-day feedback loops. So I could change formulations, get a result in 30 days, hear feedback from my golf course superintendent, change formulations and do it again and do it again and do it again. And so having some of those world-class superintendents, like we had Jack Nicklaus's superintendent for Moorfield Village, was one of our partners for a long time, helped us really pioneer some of this stuff. And so we had a lot of really interesting kind of, I'd say it's a research hack to use the superintendents to help us figure out our data, but I can't think of a better group of guys that could help us do that and do it real time and frankly even generate a little bit of revenue while we're doing so. And then we had land-grant universities to help back that all up as well. And then when Dave came in, he ran all of his own third-party research studies. Again, not Monsanto dollars, but we spend real money, 7 figures in agriculture and 7 figures in turfgrass in research and development and third-party trials. So we're serious about this and we want to prove it. And, if we can't produce the results that we say we're going to produce, we don't get invited to the farm the next year. And, we've been doubling our acres every year for the last several years. And the only way we do that is by performing. And the only way we get to perform is to really understand what we're doing.
To be fair, I mean, we have one product that we focused on. I mean, a company, a big multinational, has a massive portfolio. That R&D goes a lot of different places.
Correct.
So no, we had good data in turf, and you're right. Penn State, NC State, Purdue, some of the top turf programs in the country is what you did have. The board member didn't really understand that. And I didn't know the company at all yet. So I was like, well, you got to be kidding me.
But that guy was
a lot better.
He is the guy that convinced us we should look at agriculture because he was so excited about it. And he had all of his Amish cousins there. I remember the first time he talked to his neighbor about Holganix after he won that competition, Jason. He invited me out to literally a barn meeting where I went out to an Amish barn in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, not far from where I grew up. And I pull up and there's just a bunch of horses and buggies out there all tied up to the post. And I go into this barn. It's literally lit up with gas lights. And they had, I want to say, a soap box, like a literal soap crate, wooden crate. They set me up on so I could stand up on this crate and tell everybody about how we were going to help them with soil and microbes and their produce. And, all I had ever done at that point was this guy's watermelon and a bunch of turfgrass. And so we went out there, and the next day when I was first time I ever had to calibrate a mule-driven spray rig, And we're out there trying to figure out their spray rate that the mules were based on how fast the mules were walking. And but I did it, and we got done, and I we ended up having 20, 30 Amish customers that became our first agricultural customers, and certainly not conventional farmers. But again, they taught us some things and taught us that we should pay attention to this and get more serious about it. And that's when we started looking at the yield lab and getting Dave in and getting real data. But that's how we started.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
After I played, you said hack earlier, research hack, talk about golf courses. I thought you were talking about my 9 holes I played last night in league. I need to get some Holganix up here to Richland Sutter, Wisconsin, because I did not. I had quite a few hacks last night out there on the thing. Dave, one thing we talked about before we got on the show tonight was it's all about farmer. It's all about helping them put more money, putting life back in the soil. What's it like waking up every day knowing that you're actually doing that?
Oh, it really gets you out of bed, and it's exciting because it's, like once I figured out, what I needed to learn about the product, what Barrett already knew, my reaction was, this really belongs on every acre on the planet.
Yep.
It's something that we know how to make. It never has to be priced exorbitantly. It should always be a benefit. And so, we can do well by doing good. And that's a rare place to be as a company.
That's awesome. Guys, this has been an awesome podcast. This is the longest one we've ever done, and it's been great. To hear Barrett's passion, and Dave, you're the nerd with all this stuff to put it all together. As a tractor puller, I spend stupid money on to go pull it 350 feet, hopefully down the track. But what Holganix Midwest has done with Todd and Julie, I just can't thank you guys enough. And for the local communities that they're coming in and supporting these events, where we truck and tractor pull and the Outlaws, our truck and tractor pull is the one big thing every year. And you guys are helping us make it better. And you're selling them a product. They're using a product that's actually making their life better too. So I wish we could do like a virtual hug, something right now, or a toast, Barrett or Dave. I just can't thank you enough. So thank you for believing, and thank you for finding ag. I love a pretty grass, a grass green or a football field or a golf course, but my dad farms, and it means a lot to me. And a lot of all my pulling friends farm, and all my friends farm. So thank you so much for getting into ag. Thank you for finding those Brian and those Terry guys that own Holganix Midwest. They're fun, passionate people. They work hard, and I'm just so proud to be part of it. So thank you very much from all of us with the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling Association. We can't thank both of you enough. And this has been a blast for us to go on for 50. We're going on 54 minutes. And I love the story. You got Barrett, you got a picture anywhere of this watermelon when the guy won the?
Yeah, I'm sure we do.
Okay, I need that for
I gotta
social
check it
media.
out.
I'm having a little fun with that. So,
Okay.
Barrett, I guess sign off as CEO, founder of Holganix, episode 13. Be loyal to your soil.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate
Dave,
it.
thank you. Have a great night, guys.
Thanks.
Hey gang, let's roll that beautiful bean footage.
Drop it.